Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at one of the best Tier 9 destroyers, the Nanning Pan-Asian Tier 9 destroyer, available in the Summer Festival. These rare ships have come back, and not for loot box only events, not for Admiral bundles. This is just doubloons in the armory. Now it's expensive, just over 21,000 doubloons, I know, but I am very happy to see ships like this one come back. It's very unique in that we have a Pan-Asian destroyer that has a Japanese hull and Soviet main guns. So the shell velocity here, absolutely incredible. Some of the easiest guns to use in the game. And they're not just any Soviet guns, okay? They are better than the Soviet guns. They have way higher DPM. All right, Tashkent, the Tech Tree Tier 9 Soviet gunboat. That ship has 136,000 HE DPM. We have 160,000. That is basically Fletcher level DPM, except we have amazing shell velocity. And the AP is improved on top of that too. The AP DPM is like 242,000. Each shell has 2,900 base damage. That is crazy stuff. But we have a Japanese hull here and Pan-Asian smokes. I really love Pan-Asian smokes as a very nice middle ground between the British smokes, which are fast and bursty, but you can't really set up and farm for a long period of time. It's really nice to get you out of bad situations though, and you can use them very, very quickly. It's flexible in that way. But if you want to set up and farm, maybe the American smoke's a little better. But then, of course, if you use a smoke, well, you're not getting back to it for another couple minutes. Pan-Asian smokes are a very, very useful middle ground. Between the last puff dissipating on our smoke and the next smoke being ready to use, it's like 20 to 30 seconds. That is so comfortable to use, and it allows us to play aggressively, even when there are carriers going to be focusing us. There's a Prince Adalbert secondary crazy ship over there. Still playing aggressive and still making use of this very nice HP pool, nearly 25k HP on this ship. We sent out the torps for the Prince Adalbert as well as the Benson, but it takes a while for them to get there. Yes, these torpedoes are some of the slowest in the game. So Japanese hull, but not Japanese torpedoes. Well, when it comes to the speed, the damage, however, 27,000 alpha damage torpedoes. So if you manage to hit a torp, yeah, it is absolutely devastating, but they only go 45 knots. It's a bit like the USS Black in that regard. They are snail torps. They are best used for just sending into a choke point and hoping someone actually runs into them. There's a lot of destroyers in the game that are just faster than these torps, which is pretty funny. So mainly use this ship as a gunboat destroyer, and it does a very good job in this role. The downside, though, is that this ship does not have very good maneuverability. So, unfortunately, you have a 750 meter turning circle radius, which on a destroyer is pretty bad. We also don't have the highest top speed, 37 knots base. It's one of the advantages that the Soviet destroyers have. So they're very fast, so you can open water gunboat. Again, I think our Pan-Asian smokes offset that a little bit. It's also worth noting that our rudder shift is at like 4.6 seconds. So combined with that turning circle radius, you gotta watch out for eating these torpedoes. I got rather fortunate in these games. I'm trying to pay attention as well to where the torps might be coming from, but I still got fortunate to dodge some of the Jaeger torps, the Benson torps here as well. You really have to plan ahead a lot of the time as far as where you're positioning and what you're a little bit vulnerable to as far as getting torped out. Usually, this ship is going to be playing on a kited flank. You can't always have that luxury, but playing this ship at 10 to 12 kilometers away, open water gunboat is viable against battleships where you're not dealing with high DPM cruisers with good shell velocity or just secondary ships. It's nice that with range mod, we get out to 14.2 kilometers of gun range. Very easy to lead the guns at those ranges. High fire chance, as well as, again, that armor piercing, as you will see in a little bit, does some very nice work into upper belt broadside battleships and cruisers. I think this is a very strong gunboat DD. Whether or not it's worth 21,000 doubloons, of course, that is up to you. It's a very, very expensive ship. But I love seeing that these rare ships, which I thought previously were one and done FOMO events for Admiral bundles or gambling only crates, that sort of thing. This summer festival has been a nice breath of fresh air in that regard, where I thought some of these ships that were just gone forever, unobtainable type of ships, are back for doubloon-only non-Admiral bundle purchases. Yes, they are still expensive, but I'm glad to see some of these ship back, as they are very unique a lot of the time. This one included. We have a very, very slow turret traverse, though, as you can see. Fortunately, that's a bit mitigated by the 360-degree turrets, so you don't have to go full turret traverse mods on everything with this ship. Usually, if you're paying attention to where the enemy destroyers might be coming from, you shouldn't be getting surprised too often. In this case, a little surprised by that Z46 popping up in that smoke. We got to cut away though, as our flank has pretty much evaporated, and just look at the damage into this enemy Z46. When I aim properly, I'm a little more focused on avoiding the drop from the carrier here. I'm trying to make sure that we are in the best possible angle for his drop, which is forcing him to drop our broadside. But when these guns do hit, and I am aiming properly, it is absolutely incredible damage. And this is really the massive advantage here. We get into a gunfight with an enemy gunboat destroyer, we kite away, he has so much harder time actually hitting us, and with our shell velocity, I mean, less than 3-second flight time here. It's not hit scan, but it's pretty close, man. The shells are very, very easy to lead here, so getting into that kited position, you do not want to be fighting a Nanning in that scenario. It's effectively Fletcher DPM, but way better shell velocity, so you're going to be struggling against this, unfortunately, if you do run into it. Though, it does not have the best detect. That is another downside of this ship, is that our best detect is around 6.2 kilometers, which is fine enough, but I have elected to give up one of the concealment upgrades on the commander specifically to just fully build for the main guns. I know if I fully build for them, I can out DPM most ships, especially if I'm ready to open up the distance in that engagement. At range, the effective DPM is just so much higher here than basically everything at your tier. Even ships like Groningen and Friesland, their shell velocity is going to make them a lot harder to use at the 8 to 9 kilometer range, I would say, where I think Nanning would still end up winning those engagements. And now against Anamagi, we got him on fire, so good tactic to use with our very high fire chance. I think it's like 8% base fire chance. Then swap over to the AP and get some very nice salvos, usually. Dispersion looking a little awkward here. Maybe I didn't quite get lock on properly, I'm not sure. There is our Confederate though, and all off of the main guns. If you're better than me with the torpedoes, the ship will go even harder, but as just a pure gunboat, the ship is very, very good. And especially since we can outrange a lot of secondary ships. This is one of the reasons that running an open water gunboat, or even just a somewhat smoke, somewhat open water gunboat, is rather difficult these days. Let's be honest, Wargaming has massively increased the power level of secondaries over the years, and especially their range too. Something like a Prince Adalbert, if he's using manual secondaries, we would barely outrange with our 14.2. But just the automated ones, we can stay outside of that 12.5 kilometer range and still get some okay damage in. Now we need to go deal with this Amagi. But stuff like Schlieffen, Libertad, things like that, we can actually outrange those secondaries. So we're not constantly taking that chip damage. A lot of the time, when I'm playing maybe some of the older gunboats, let's be honest, a little power creep situation here, I am oftentimes locked out of just running open water gunboat into these 8 to 10 kilometer windows, where my ship does pretty well because that maybe has poor shell velocity. Friesland, Groningen, even old ships like Fletcher have great guns, but you can't really use them at these ranges that much because you end up running into those secondary ships. And then you're kind of relegated to a good gunboat with okay torpedoes, and you're running a torp boat roll. That's the nice part about something like Nanning with this amazing shell velocity. We can just outrange a lot of those secondary ships. Now we should also talk about the carrier on our flank, and a Lexington that is seemingly going after us quite often. Unfortunately, the AA here is just okay. Remember that Lexington is a tier 8 carrier, so the fact that we're struggling to shoot down many planes at all is not a very good sign for your up tiers into tier 10, or I hope it never happens to you, but a super carrier that decides to focus you. That would be worst case scenario, of course. You're really not going to be shooting those planes down, and that maneuverability and overall size of the ship, it's kind of a larger destroyer, means that you're going to take a lot of extra damage to that, as well as just the extra spotting. It's very difficult to play destroyers into carriers that want to take them out, and Nanning is going to be no different there. It does okay against the lower tier 8 ones, where the defensive AA can sometimes deter a little bit, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge for you. Again, that range is going to allow you to play around your teammates. Clumping up is really the only defense, so your ability to play at these longer ranges and just farm a little bit is very useful to not feeling like you're completely locked out of the battle, but that is a noticeable weakness of all destroyers, let's be honest, is carrier games really ruin a lot of their playstyle. But this one can manage it a little bit. I'm not going to say it's fun, but it can manage it a little bit thanks to these main guns and their level of range. So overall, a pretty fun gunboat that you're getting a similar-ish experience to what you would find with the Soviet gunboat destroyers, although much higher DPM here. No access to that heal, unfortunately, but the DPM here is very, very nice. Similar, maybe a little better concealment, worse speed. We get access to those very nice Pan-Asian smokes. And if you happen to land a torpedo, which I'm not very good at those, but if you do, 27k alpha is absolutely hilarious. Wait, do I actually land a torp? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I was gonna play a live game for you guys and look at, we got like small, I hit a torp. I can't believe it. We got small game super ship, so understandably I was gonna skip. I hit a torpedo though. Let's go. All right, now for the actual live game. We got ourselves a normal match for matchmaker. Carrier sub is unfortunate. We do spawn on the sub flank, worth noting. Let's also consider what the enemy team have as far as destroyers. Yugama outspots us, we outgun him. Alvaro, similar detect, depends if he went full gun build or not. His best is 6.2 as well. And he probably has similar guns to us at closer ranges, probably better DPM in fact, but our shell velocity helps us out a lot at range. So I don't think I want to go for the cap alongside sub and carrier potentially spotting us out as well. I don't want to just YOLO rush into a cap and die very early. A flank like this one, very open water. It's hard in a light cruiser. We've gotten it a lot in our light cruisers. In Suzia, I think I got it as well. And instantly left. I don't blame light cruisers for leaving this flank at all. Speaking of Suzia, very, very good ship also available. For me, I probably would go for that over Nanning. I think it's a little more unique. I also like that sort of play style quite a lot. But notice the sub actually gave away his position away. But Nanning is very, very fun in its own right. Especially now that I can hit torpedoes, apparently. So our sub is behind us. He's lagging a bit. Notice our Riga leaving, Setembro leaving. Yamato kind of playing this flank. So we need to play a little bit more passive, okay? We don't know what the enemy has here yet. I also went straight for the Thunderstorm because that improves our detect to 6.2. And now we're lit. So I was already ready to turn away. I'm going to engine boost and turn away. And it's Alvaro. So he bursts us. So we're going to eat a ton of damage here, unfortunately. But he now, we know, is on cooldown. So we get a lot of damage into him for now. There's no point in smoking yet, right? There is no point in smoking. In fact, we go dark off of his smoke. So we save some resource there. Very nice. Let's try and avoid a little more damage from the Montana and Buffalo. Great. So we know what's here now. It was risky. He was full conceal. Notice that he out-detected us, even though our detections at best were the same, 6.2. So he's got a full conceal build. But we got some respectable damage into him. He smashed us, yes. But that's okay. We're a tier lower here, and we don't have the support he does. Monty, Buffalo, right? It's much, much less support here for us compared to what the Alvaro has. So again, reasons to play more passive. Why am I getting smoked? I want to spot for my team. Oh, support consumables. I'm so glad they exist. Okay, let's not rant about carriers, but maybe we can make a use of this. Fair enough. Fair enough. Buffalo, let's remember, has brief spot on the submarine there. We're gonna get blind fired by the Alvaro. Ain't no way. Get a hobby, brother. 10 kilometer radar here. So we're within that radar. He might pop it here. Notice how he's looking for us. Let's get ready to go forward. AEP into his broadside. He's not popping his radar. Interesting. AEP still into his broadside. It just does so much damage when you get the full pens, of course. All right. So we're making use of the smoke now. We're trying to make the best of it. There's that Alvaro. He's actually quite low. He's lower than I thought he would be. Did he eat some subtorps? We're getting blind fired now by Buffalo. Okay, they don't like the Nanning. They know how powerful it is, I guess. Interesting. So now that the smoke is out and I can do some spotting, Buffalo is going to go dark, and we're just going to reverse towards where the enemy is. There is the submarine. Again, we have less support here. The Yamato has been helping us out a lot. I don't know who smashed the Buffalo. But patience, right? Patience is important. Carriers coming through. We have our smoke still. And I will use it because I am reversing into danger here. There's Monty. I will use it if he comes by, that is. He might be going for the... Notice my AA is off, so I'm not getting spotted here. He might be just going for the Yamato. So in that case, we're kind of just chilling. Willing to spot. Alvaro has gone for the cap. He is in the A cap. All right, so we should make note that Torps could come from that angle, though likely they're going for Yamato. No, they were for us. They were for us. Okay, we avoid them, though. Very good. Again, just wanting to reverse. Maybe we catch a cheeky Buffalo spot if he's tried to turn back in. We're keeping Monty lit, right? This is all very good things for our team. Submarine is surface A. There's that cheeky Buffalo light. Maybe our team can do something with that. I'll send my Torps. Remember, they're zoning Torps rather than actually, you know, predicting Torps or, you know, actually going after ships. I'm just sending them out as a zoning tool here. All right, there's that Buffalo again. Looks like that's probably the carrier that is spotting that. I'm going to just wait for my... I don't think I can do 15k with him healing very quickly. So I'm going to wait. Unfortunately, our battleships took the opportunity to go after the Montana. In this case, I am going to open up and start running away. Alvaro is not on us. Good. I can avoid the Buffalo shot. Great. And I guess we're going to go after the Buffalo here. I am shocked at... Okay, there we go. Now the battleships are actually shooting them. I was shocked that they weren't going after the Buffalo here. So, glad to see that they are now. There it is. That's what I was hoping for. We'll swing the Torps this way, and by damage controlling, we will avoid them. Notice... with submarine torpedoes, you got to be cutting away. You just have to be cutting away. That's the only way to reasonably, reliably dodge them. But also, with destroyers, they stop homing like when they're on top of your ship. So you have to use your damage control to actually avoid them. Both kiting away and have your damage control available. Otherwise, I am not playing so aggressive that the submarine could torp at me. So, radar down. Montana's leaving. Repub is leaving. Worth now playing a little bit more aggressive back into this cap because the Alvaro will have a little bit less support here. Our Riga is also in a decent position. As long as the Alvaro isn't, you know, within this kind of area, then the Riga won't have a sight line for us. We need to consider what our support is going to give to us. Carrier coming back through, likely for Yamato or perhaps the Riga. So fortunately, not on us. We can continue here. Montana pushing up. Let's get our Torps a little closer. You notice how we're just not... I want to get them to about here. Right, that's a pretty common spot to kind of stop as the Montana stop behind an island. Smoke generator started. Engine boost activated. Pop everything? Wait, where's Alvaro? I thought he'd shoot at me. There you are. So... maybe we can avoid a lot of that? We do. That's really, really good. Okay. Our turrets, unfortunately, are not turned for that. But we avoided a lot of that damage. Sometimes being full speed as you're smoking can be a really, really nice way to avoid some pretty common fire. Just trying to think right now where Torps could be coming from. Probably from the Alvaro. Interesting that he went out wide for us. Now, our shell velocity here is going to help us. I think he's just going to continue on that line, so maybe we can get a little more damage into him. For now, though... oh, he's forced to smoke. That's really, 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 really good for us. Now, though, I see the Montana pushing in, and are we going to land some more... remember, they're slow torpedoes. I'm trying to angle my ship towards where the torpedoes will be coming from. We haven't used too many of our smokes yet, so I'm pretty okay with burning this one. Also, notice the carrier coming by. That is potentially going to be an issue for us. Notice how our Yamato is sort of kited away. I think we're going to get more Torps, guys. He's landing torpedoes! Holy! Look at the damage! All right, we get him. So now we're instantly leaving our smoke because Alvaro could be pushing that. With the Montana pushing up, serving as a distraction. So we're going to leave and kind of break angle this way. What I want to do is, you know, we already know he's on the flank, so our Riga can get the angle. So if he does come after us, then he'll either be angling to us or the Riga. One of us is going to get broadside shots, and Doesn't matter as much when there's no citadel, but it can matter with HE into destroyers. You hit center mass, and you do a lot better damage. Okay, carrier going for Riga. That also means that I might want to consider heading back towards our Riga to help with AA. Also, notice our Riga taking this opportunity to turn out, so he's not bow in on the island, sitting duck for the carrier. So with him leaving then, we should also consider leaving a little bit more. Playing safe right now because we only have 10k HP. A good Alvaro burst can certainly get that into us. However, Alvaro is spotted. And our shell velocity should allow us to get some okay damage into him. Maybe. There we go. Nice. He's going to burst at us. He just simply does not have the shell velocity. So that's just not going to be anywhere close to enough lead. You see this? This is the advantage of just being able to get damage in at these longer ranges where a lot of other destroyers just simply cannot. Even ones that have, admittedly, very, very good guns, better guns than us at a close range fight. Close range, Alvaro wins. Fair fight, Alvaro wins. But we got to take advantage of what our ship does well, which is that amazing DPM at range for our shell velocity. Getting like Fletcher level DPM with good shell velocity is crazy for a gunboat. We have our disadvantages, concealment, maneuverability. It's a bit of a brick to maneuver this ship. Perhaps I'm underselling that side of what this ship is like to play. It certainly is awkward when you get caught close range with this ship if you're used to playing something like Fletcher that is that maneuverable. But you get this sort of playstyle down, it feels very, very good to have this level of DPM with this shell velocity. You just don't see it. Anything comparable DPM-wise has 3-4 second worst flight time to 10 to 12 kilometers. It's crazy. And I want you to notice that only now am I bow in, full sending it at this submarine. This is the only time you get to do this is when he has literally no support left. Otherwise, he can surface, get you spotted briefly, then do you shoot to try and force him back underwater? But if you shoot, then you're going to be spotted and you're going to die. But if you don't shoot him, he can just sit on top of the water keeping you lit as you'd make this YOLO play for all his teammates to shoot at you with. It's a very, very tricky dilemma with submarines as a destroyer. You really cannot just make this run at them play with your depth charges. You just can't do it until he's all out of support. That is the only time that that sort of thing sort of works. Sort of. Here we go. Close range. Remember, torpedoes from submarines don't actually do that much damage anymore. So he'll get a little bit into us. That's not a big deal. And we'll be able to take him out. Just like so. Okay, someone else got him. Totally fine. Team gets the NC. That's great. Maybe Graf Zeppelin will get broadside enough for armor piercing. This AP alpha damage, man, 2900 is very, very high for destroyer level of guns. So make use of it. It's got shorter fuses. It's well worth using anytime you can catch broadsides. Well worth using. We can also defire because it's basically the end. I'm trying to save defire for the scariest squadrons from the Graf Zeppelin or from any carrier really. Oftentimes that will be rockets, maybe the dive bombers. It's easiest for them to hit you with those. Torpedoes, you can often dodge. Skip bombers, you can often dodge or at least force the angle so poor that they're not actually going to get a lot of damage into you. So that's what I'm saving it for. The A is not that amazing though, as we already talked about. That was a decent game. Only a 2, barely over 100k, but I think we played our flank really well, especially into an enemy destroyer that was very strong and one where the enemy team had more ships there. They had a radar there, they had some carrier support there. We did too, admittedly. Submarine flank as well. That's a pretty awkward position to be in a destroyer, and I think we did a pretty good job. So, build-wise, I love the gun build. I love just going full guns here, so main battery mod 3. The dispersion does feel a little bad at times. I don't know if that's bugs or if that's just how this ship is, but it is destroyer dispersion. That's what it says. That's what the stats page says, but felt a little awkward at times, right? Maybe that's lock-on bug or something. So going aiming systems instead of main battery mod 2, I think we're allowed to do that because of the 360 turrets. Otherwise, it would be Yeah, pretty bad. We're still taking Grease the Gears here, though that was notably the last point that I did on this 21-point commander. Always go for these 3 first, even, like, doesn't matter if you're torp build, stealth ship, or wanting to go full open water gunboat. Usually you go Conceal then next, but in this case, I'm greeting out Fearless Brawler on this full gun build, so going the extra range to get 14.2. Yeah, we're forgoing a bit of concealment. You saw it was a little awkward there to get outspotted by an Alvaro, but we made it work. You have to play around it. Otherwise, if you're starting out, definitely just go conceal instead of Fearless Brawler. Use your smokes more often. Anytime you're in smoke, you're not using Fearless Brawler for the extra reload. So that is probably the better way to go with it. So you find Nanning over here, Armory, Summer Festival, Sunrise bundles. These won't be around forever. At the time of recording, you got 8 days left for these ones. So Nanning, 21,800, quite a bit. Suzy as well, quite a bit. I don't find Cheshire or Archangelisk that interesting, so I'm not sure we'll make a video on. Maybe Archangel will make a video on. But Nanning, Suzy, very, very interesting to me. Perhaps more interesting, if you're wanting to only get one of these, is something like Rhode Island, Grau, and then over in the regular ships area, Aguirre? Again, apologies for pronunciation on all of this stuff, is a very interesting option as well. So cool to see a lot of these rare ships coming back, ships that were only previously available in FOMO events, now just for a direct purchase in the Armory for doubloons. No extra random Admiral bundle to inflate the cost, no gamble only. It's still a bit of FOMO because, you know, once the ships are gone from that event, then we don't know when they're coming back, but I think this is a pretty positive step in the right direction for rare ships, and I hope you guys enjoyed this look at Nanning today. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.